Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this game I'm playing a 3v3 match on the map Twin Waters. I'm starting in the bottom left position playing as the Soviets. In this game we've got the standard left v right format. And first of all, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just expanding my base up to the northwest. And the reason I'm doing that is there's a pure gem patch there. I'm also going to be getting some infantry out, as you can see now, and putting them straight to the right of my base, because that's going to block any of the scouts from getting in. And I'm just trying to sort of move them down at the same time, just get a bit more map visibility. And on this map, what you have is that you have like lots of ore and gem patches, and some just patches which are exclusively gems. Of course, the patches that are exclusively gems are more valuable, so it's really good if you can get on them. And there's also a very large gem patch right in the middle of the map, and if you can get that there, that gets you a lot of resources. And there you saw that I got a money box there. And that's really, really powerful to get early on in the game. It just helps improve your start a lot. So I'm getting my first war factory out. I'm just going to put it up there, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a single ore truck. And then I'm just going to be moving on to pure tanks. And you can see I've got quite a bit of visibility towards the base of green in the bottom right. And I'm just having a bit of a look at the top there. It doesn't look like there's too much going on. I could see one of those red scouts, and they've got a lot of map visibility up there, so that's obviously a good thing. I'm just moving my scouts a little bit forward, and now I'm building my second war factory, and now I'm going to start building another ore refinery. The thing I have to consider is that gem patch, which my 2 ore trucks are on, isn't going to last too long, so I am going to need to transfer to the ore patch below my base. Unfortunately, with that ore patch though, there's not as many gems, so my economy sort of will take a hit. And what I tend to find on this map is that you'll be stacking up like loads of ore early on, but then it'll sort of suddenly drop later on, so you do have to be like a little bit careful, because sometimes you can get a bit complacent, build too many war factories, and then you realise that your economy's all gone all at once. And now we're having a little bit of a fight with green. You can see 2 of those medium tanks going down, and those infantry doing a lot of damage. And you can just see how easily those tanks go down when you've got infantry helping you. So that was obviously a very good trade for ourselves. And that'll hurt like green, because it's quite early game, so losing a few tanks at this stage in the game is quite a big thing. I'm also just making sure I've got enough power, and I'm going to think about building a service depot just so I can get an extra MCV out. So now we're going to go on the attack now that green's lost a few of those medium tanks. Another 2 tanks going down, it looks like there, and a 3rd tank there, and now we're right on green's base. But we can see that we've got orange there, and with a load of infantry, it's a little bit of a bottleneck, and we're going to have to pull back, because if we just shot all of our tanks in there, we could lose them quite easily. And so instead of going for like mass tanks and trying to like force my way through, which I don't think I'll be able to do in that position, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build an extra MCV and start moving it towards that bottom middle patch, because you can see in the bottom middle there's a gem patch there, so that'll give me a lot of resources if I can get on that. And we've got green and orange just in that bottleneck there, just protecting their bottom right entrance to the map. And you can see I've got now my 4th war factory, and you can see I'm stacking up ore quite a bit, but as I said, that can soon change. And we'll just get this service MCV deployed, get this war factory out, and now we're going to get another ore refinery. And that's going to sort of like help stabilise our economy, because as we lose the gem patch to the top right left of my base, hopefully we can transition ore trucks onto this next gem patch, and that'll help keep our economy going, because you can already see our ore reserves are starting to drop quite a bit. And now we'll just get that ore refinery out. And yeah, I'm just going to get another ore truck, because it is dropping quite fast, my ore. I was on like 11,000. I've gone to 8,000 in a very short space of time. And what I can do in this position as well is just build some Tesla coils. I'm just having a bit of a look at the top there. We can see that red and blue have some tanks at the top, and it doesn't seem like there's too much going on at that part of the map at the moment. But what I am going to do is I'm going to send some tanks just through the middle just to do a little bit of scouting. And I'm also going to be trying to expand my economy and sort of build a stronghold in this middle bottom position. I'm going to be able to build another MCV as well, because I'm going to want to send one MCV maybe to the middle, because you can see there's that big massive gem patch in the middle of the map. And now looking down at my base, we can see that green is starting to build a navy, and that is going to be problematic. And what's even more problematic is that yellow is already in the middle of the map, so that's why it's been so quiet up north. Because we've got green there, so I don't know, I'm going to move my tanks a little bit up. I'm sort of going to try and bait like orange and green out to the base, and so I've took the bait, they've come out, and now I can go back, because we've got a Tesla there to fire on those things, because what we want to do is we want to get green and orange out to that base, and having a fight here so we can possibly break through. So now we can see this fight against orange and green. The tanks are coming forwards. And unfortunately, we've got the yellow tanks coming downwards, so this tactic might not work. What I was hoping for was to get green and orange out the base, and then take out green's base. But it seems like yellow may be joining the fight as well. We've got 2 Tesla coils now. We've got blue to help us, and we'll just have to watch what yellow is deciding to do. So, yeah, I'm just having a look here. I've actually managed to get that MCV away somehow. But we'll just try and keep building Tesla coils, and you can see now orange trying to go for the building to the top of my base, and they're actually going for the power plants, which could be bad because if I lose power, I'm not going to be able to use those Tesla. And now we can see that yellow is looking like they're going to my main base, and my main base is of course the most important one, so I'm going to need to go and defend that. And unfortunately, it looks like this base here is going to go down. So just trying to intercept those yellow tanks at the moment. We managed to get quite a few tanks in there, and we're also building our tanks from our main base, so any tanks they're getting through, I'll be able to fight head on. Just selling that service depot, just to reduce the power deficit because I am low on power. And I've got a power plant on the way, and you can see those yellow tanks getting quite low on HP, trying to force their way through my heavy tanks at the bottom of the map, so my tank's doing a pretty good job at just blocking them in that position. And you can see, yeah, there's a few yellow tanks getting through, but all the yellow tanks coming through are on quite low HP, so that's helping me quite a bit. And now my power's okay again, so I'll be producing tanks at a normal rate. And we're going to be able to get some of these tanks down pretty quickly. So yeah, though that block going okay there. I am going to lose a war factory though, and I've also lost my MCVs, or my construction yards, so that's a bit of a blow. And you can see some of my buildings going down in that bottom middle position. I've still got an oil refinery there, but some of the Teslas and the war factory there have gone now. But what I do think is that yellow, green and orange have all lost quite a lot of tanks doing that. So it's sort of like a win in terms of tank numbers. Although now what I'm doing is I'm focusing on rebuilding those MCVs. And you can see there's those yellow tanks in blue's base. But blue will be able to handle them. There's only 2 tanks. So that should be fine. And now I've lost a couple of war factories, so my building speed is quite slow. Just getting the MCV out. And once I get this MCV out, I'll build another war factory just to increase that rate. And you can see green go for the attack on my oil refinery. It does look like that might go down. Orange there as well with his light tanks. And yeah, unfortunately, there's not much I can do in this position. I'll take out those green tanks, but I think those orange tanks are definitely going to be too much. And we can just see yellow again at the top of the map. He's just building up, and he does seem to be rebuilding a decent-sized army. So I've got 2 construction MCVs out. That's going to increase my building speed, like double my building speed, having 2 instead of just 1. So I'm going to be able to get that next war factory out quite quickly and start rebuilding and expanding to the left. I'm also going to build another war factory because I really want 3. You can see I've stacked up quite a bit of ore, but that's because my other war factories were destroyed rather than having a good economy. And now we can see that yellow is bringing some tanks down to the south of the map. I do have good tank numbers though, so I don't think there's going to be too many tanks there. And I'm going to have time to build another couple of MCVs because I do really want to expand more to the bottom right position. Now we can see green coming in. It looks like they're going for attack on my main base, so I'm going to have to go back and defend this as well as I can. I don't think that many tanks though is going to be too much of an issue, but they could do it, like get some major buildings down, like 1 or 2 like war factories or MCVs, and we've already lost quite a bit, so we want to make sure that none of those important buildings go down. I'm also just taking my MCV, and you can see they're going for a war factory. It does look like that war factory, well, it was going to be quite close, but they seem to move on to another building now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting some Tesla coils down, and they will do some great damage. Even though it's medium tanks, Tesla coils are more effective against light tanks. They still do great damage though against medium tanks and heavy tanks, especially when you have them in large numbers. And now what we're going to be doing is we're yet again going to be moving an MCV closer to that bottom middle position. We can see yellow army above that position, so I'm just going to maybe move my tanks towards them. Also having a look to the right, it looks like green and orange aren't there at the moment. And now it looks like red are going for an attack on yellow at the top of the map. So I'm just having to think about what I need to do here. I'm just bringing my MCV further to the right. We can see some orange tanks coming up there, light tanks. So yeah, I can't be too aggressive. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place my MCV here, and I'm going to place my ore refinery quite a long way from the ore. And I don't usually do this, but what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to use this like base here as sort of like both a defensive and economic position. So it can defend on the corner, so if yellow comes down it can defend against them, or if there's an attack from the right it can also defend against that as well. So yeah, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be placing quite a lot of Tesla coils around that position, just to make it like sort of like fortify it really, and make it very, very hard if a team wants to push through. And now we're going to go for an attack on yellow, because while yellow's preoccupied at the top of the map, it's going to be an ideal opportunity for us to take out some of these tanks quite easily, because yellow won't be microing them because they'll be focused on another part of the map. So we'll see how many of these tanks we can take down. We're also going to need to keep an eye on what's happening at the bottom, because we know that orange and green could come across. We can see that blue is bringing some tanks to that position as well, which is a really good thing because it's going to provide me with a bit more defense, and just places some buildings, more power plants and more Teslas in that position. As we can see, blue bringing some tanks in there, and now those yellow tanks, you can see we're starting to whittle down those numbers, but we can see the orange are coming from the bottom right of the map along with green as well. At this point in the game, it's really important we hold this position, so let's see how we can do with this Tesla. We've got blue fighting those orange tanks, which seem to be going down quite quickly. Green bringing some medium tanks in. It looks like one of those Teslas are going to go down, but I'm going to just be able to build another one, and my power is okay at the moment. So we'll have to see what they go for. Those Teslas getting up a lot of hits and doing a lot of damage. But you can see those middle Teslas still doing loads of damage. We've lost a couple on the outside. And now it looks like green have changed their tactic and are now going for the power plants. But I have been building a large power plant for each Tesla, which is more than it needs. So I am quite good in the power department at the moment. And we could see those green tanks trying to push through, trying to damage that construction yard. But green is losing an awful lot trying to get this construction yard down. And you can see I've also got a lot of tanks for defense as well. And orange trying to go through as well with their light tanks. And those light tanks are particularly vulnerable against Tesla. We will be getting great value from this battle with the number of tanks we're going to be able to take out. And you can see me cutting off those light tanks there, and those Tesla just finishing them off. And yeah, that Tesla's going to be fine in my base. I'm also got another one on the build, and once I get that down, those two light tanks are going to go down pretty quickly. And now we could just I'm just having a bit of a look there at the base there. I'm just gonna build another ore refinery, and just into that like position, just the top right of my base, and this time the next door refinery is going to be a bit closer. Just having a bit of look at the top of the map, and you can see that red has done some good damage there, and now green going on the attack once again with some medium tanks, but I can tell you that's not going to be enough, especially with the fortified Tesla in that base position. And you can see again they're going for the construction yard, and actually it's not actually mending because I've ran out of ore. But yeah, you can see those Tesla making short work of a couple of those tanks, and it does look like that construction yard might go down, but it's not going to be too important because yeah, and there's that last, oh, and I've just ran out of ore, so it does look like it will go down after all. But green has lost an awful lot, and I mean that it's not that much value, just one construction yard, with the amount of forces that green has put at it, because I could always build another MCV from the war factories if I need to. And just having a bit of a look around, getting my economy sorted. We can see there's still those yellow tank army just above my base. We've got, yeah, I'm gonna have to be careful there because my old trucks get out the wrong position, and then they could be in trouble. I've got that like load of Tesla in my base, so if I do get attacked, then I'm not going to be too worried. And now I'm going to go for those green tanks just outside the base, so just away from the base defences, and while they're there, they'll be quite easy to just pick off. And you can see now green does not have many tanks at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for attack on green's base, because I think I'll be able to break through if it's just like a few tanks and those Tesla defences. You can see my army is quite large, so we'll see if this is going to work. There are some turrets there which do good damage against tanks. It is sort of like a bottleneck, but not as bad as some places on the map. And now we're trying to break through, try to take out those turrets particularly, because those turrets are going to be the things that damage. The pillboxes aren't too bad, but I'll try and take them out also. And just getting that so I can see what's going on. And we can see that our teammate red in the top left is in a bad position, but there's actually no way I could get to that part of the map except going back through my base, which is far too far. So what we need to do, if we're going to lose a person off our team, I'm going to need to try and take out green out at this point in time. So we've got a couple of war factories. I think that's the war factories down, and now we're going to go for the construction yard, and then we'll go for the barracks to just try and get them all down. And now you can see he's trying to get his construction yard away, but it's not going to work, and that goes down as well. And now we can see that yellow are going down for an attack on my sort of middle bottom base, and we can see that orange is on the attack on blue's base. So blue's going to be focusing on defense now, and I'm going to just need to focus on the attack or defense on this part of the map. It does look like yellow are going on my ore patch, and I think what they're actually trying to do is they're trying to go for my ore trucks rather than my base, because my ore trucks obviously don't have a load of Tesla defending them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring my tanks into this position. We can see also that yellow's got some tanks in the top left position as well. So we're going to go for attack here. Let's see what we can do. We're also building another Tesla that we can hopefully put further up on the ore patch. So we'll just try and take these tanks out right now. We've got a sort of defensive Tesla there as well. And these tanks shouldn't be too much of an issue. You can see red is now officially out of the game, and those yellow tanks now on the retreat, going back towards the middle of the map. And I'm going to go on the chase. The best thing I can do to help my teammates at the moment is just to put as much pressure on the middle of the map as I can on orange and yellow. You can see those yellow tanks going down. They're in a bad position, and yellow losing quite a bit there. That was definitely not economic. So even though it looked like a good move from yellow initially, it wasn't a good move, because when he wanted to take those tanks out, there was like a big bottleneck there, which made it very difficult. And now I'm going to go towards the middle of the map. We can see a lot of those gems have now been used up, and I'm going to start sending my forces there. And you can see blue sending forces back to his base, because it doesn't look like it's going too well there, unfortunately. And we're going up to yellow's base. We'll just see what we can do there and try and take it out. But yeah, you can see there's quite a lot of Tesla around there. And I've just noticed actually at blue's base, there's no ore left. So he's going to be really struggling for ore, because that ore patch is all used up next to his base. And that's because he hasn't expanded to the other parts of the map, unfortunately. So he's going to be probably out of ore. So the tanks that he's got, possibly the only tanks he's going to be able to use. And now we're going on yellow's base, but you can see that it looks like orange and yellow I've almost defeated blue, and then as soon as I defeat blue, they'll be onto my base. We'll see if blue's able to get those tanks back anyway, and you can see now there's a bit of a navy in the bottom right. I think that's from green. I guess green can only build naval units now, so you'll just be building those. We're going for an attack on yellow's base in the middle of the map, where you can see there's plenty of ore in the top middle, and you can see that blue's buildings are almost down. Yeah, Nose Tesla doing a little bit of damage. I mean, the Tesla on the road aren't too much of an issue because I am using heavy tanks, and as I often say, when it's Tesla on the run, they've got very low HP, so can be taken out quite quickly, as you can see there. So just going up a little bit there, but yeah, it does look like now blue is officially out of the game, and unfortunately this is going to be pretty much good game. We can see the orange and yellow are going to take out my bottom left base, and the green navy is firing on my ore patch in the bottom middle. Anyway, what I think I possibly could have done differently this game, which might have made it a bit closer or possibly could have helped us win, is build more MCVs early on. In the middle of the game here, we did lose that bottom middle position for a bit of time, and it took us quite a while to build back up. But if we'd made that stronger earlier on with more MCVs, then things could have been differently, because we did have a great army all the way throughout the game. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.